something I haven't been able to talk about. But the passing of Paul Reubens. Paul Reubens was actually something that I found very surprising and unfortunate. He was a staple of my childhood growing up, and I'm sure many of you are, especially if you are within the same age demographic as I am. Paul Reubens, of course, is better known as Pee Wee Herman in the 80s, 90s, for a long time, for most of his career. That is basically what he is known for. But it was when I finally came to the realization that Paul Reubens was more than that, with other things that I saw him do as far as acting is concerned, that made me realize how brilliant of a comedian or comedic actor he is. And I also realized that he had a really, I guess, huge history in improv. That's basically how Pee Wee Herman was formed and formulated and realized, because he used to do an improv show in LA, in California, called it the Pee Wee Herman Show. And HBO has this special where they filmed one of the stage shows that he did. I'm sure they cut a bunch of different stage shows that he put together and made it into one episode. One thing that's also interesting to note about that is many years later, he brought that back. And I had a chance to actually see it on Broadway here in New York. And it was so much fun, such a delight. And again, he really excels, not only as the Pee Wee Herman character, but just as a performer. He always loves mixing his humor with adult sensibilities and innuendos that, kids won't be able to catch up on, but it's for the adults, and I always appreciate humor like that. But yeah, it was through this HBO special that I realized, wow, he's really good at improv and really good at stage productions. He did this show with Phil Hartman. Phil Hartman played one of the characters on the show. And this was before Phil Hartman became known for his roles on SNL. And then, of course, being a voice actor in The Simpsons and amongst other things like Futurama and all that stuff. So he played Captain Carl, I believe it was. And it was really, really fascinating that, Paul Reubens was surrounded by so much talent, because on the Pee Wee Herman Show, unbeknownst to us kids watching it, we were watching someone who would eventually become Morpheus in The Matrix, but amongst so many other roles that he's played. And that's Lawrence Fishburne, who played Cowboy Curtis. And it's just so interesting to see how Lawrence Fishburne got some of his early starts acting on a kids show they used to show on the Saturday mornings. And it was very interesting because you knew you were at the tail end of what is your Saturday morning cartoon fix the minute the Pee Wee Herman Show came up. Pee Wee's Playhouse, because Pee Wee's Playhouse usually played on the tail end of that morning. And once that was done, that's when you knew, okay, now I can go on with the rest of my day, because all the other cartoons I already watched, capped it with Pee Wee's Playhouse. Maybe, depending on the time, you would have capped it off also with Saved by the Bell. That kind of fell along the same time frame. And then, that's it. You went out and played, or you did whatever you did, hung out with your friends and all that stuff. But yeah, it was, again, realizing how good of an actor and how many things he's done outside of Pee Wee Herman. I mean, yeah, Pee Wee also had a footnote in cinema, because we got Pee Wee's Big Adventure, which was a huge hit in the 80s. It's what helped put Tim Burton on the map. I believe that was one of Tim Burton's first films, if not his debut, working with Paul Reubens in the Pee Wee Herman movie. And again, that's such a classic movie with so many quotable lines. I'm a loner, Dottie, a rebel, all that stuff. Paging Mr. Herman, Mr. Herman. Oh, I love that scene. It's so good. How you can be someone who's not an actor, pretending to act in a movie. Like, you're an actor playing an actor who doesn't know how to act in a movie. That's just so many levels of brilliance right there. I just think it's so funny.
Paging Mr. Herman. Mr. Herman, you have a telephone call at the front desk.
But he's done other roles in movies too. And these are some of the things I would have never known if it wasn't for trailers that used to play in front of VHS cassettes that I used to rent from like my local video store, you know. So if you are a younger generation, you probably never experienced this. But again, you're in my generation, you know, when you rented movies, oftentimes they used to play trailers in front of the movies, you know, whether it was on VHS cassette or DVD. There would always be trailers because they're always, you know, on that promotion train to promote what's next. And it was an older comedy that I rented. I forget which one it was, but I saw some trailers of like Cheech and Chong's next movie, and I saw Paul Reubens playing a character on that in that movie. Blues Brothers, he played I believe a waiter in that movie. And I was like, wow, you know, he's doing all these other roles outside of Pee Wee Herman. Now, mind you, he still looks like Pee Wee because Paul Reubens and the look of Pee Wee Herman, it's almost one in one, right? It's kind of hard to separate them because he uses his own face, you know. He doesn't really skew away from the look, with the exception of course, he got his gray suit, the red bow tie, and he has that childish like voice, right, that he implements. You see like a normal Paul Reubens acting in normal voice, he still looks like Pee Wee Herman, right? It's just really hilarious. But you know, of course, Paul, he came across some controversy, right? And there was a moment where he was blacklisted in the minds of others, of people, because of his scandal being caught in a X-rated movie theater. I don't need to go more into details about that. You could Google it and all. But he handled it very well. I mean, I remember when first made a TV appearance after that. It was during the MTV Video Music Awards where he came up on stage as Pee Wee Herman to thunderous applause. I mean, people were supporting him all the time, despite being the laughing, you know, joke for several years because of being arrested for what he was doing. And one of the first things out of his mouth was, "So, heard any good jokes lately?" And oh, that again shows you the brilliance of Paul and how he can easily poke fun at himself.
Thank you very much. Heard any good jokes lately? What was that one? Oh, so funny I forgot to laugh.
And then it was years later when I believe it was Mystery Man came out, and he played a role as one of the heroes there. The Spleen, which his superhero powers were flatulence. And I thought, of course, that in its own right was also very hilarious. A lot of people also will remember him for his cameo in Batman Returns as Oswald Cobblepot's father. So it was like very, very interesting to see him show up like that, playing such a side character. He played roles in the movies Blow, just to name a few. I mean, you go down his, you know, filmography, he's done so much. He was also a very prominent voice actor too, but you know, he also played roles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the original movie, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where he played one of the vampires there. But yeah, Mystery Man, Blow, and then he played again like a lot of voice acting work and all. And then he made a triumphant return as Pee Wee Herman in 2016's Pee Wee's Big Holiday, which I believe was a Netflix movie. But yeah, I mean, Paul Reubens, again, very much part of my childhood, as part of many others. And it was kind of unfortunate to hear that he was suffering, battling cancer for 6 years, and he kept it quiet and secret. He left a great message apologizing for keeping things such a secret. But you know, it was just very, very touching that he at least was able to say like his goodbyes to his fan base and to the audience who grew up knowing him. I mean, to this day, I still say, and I stand by the fact that the Pee Wee Herman's holiday special is one of my all-time favorite holiday specials because it's just how funny and hilarious and how just stupid and silly it is. And again, I love his humor when he can mix in some adult innuendos that only, you know, us adults can can pick up on and kids won't. I think my favorite line from that special is when it starts snowing and he was like, you know, doing the whole Pee Wee flipping out like, oh, it's snowing, it's snowing.
It's snowing! It's snowing! It's snowing! It's snowing! It's snowing!
And he puts on his outfit and he's running around in the snow and he's just like marveling at like all the snow. And he comes across this little patch of snow. He's like, oh, it's yellow snow. I just, oh, that part gets me every freaking time, you know, because again, it's humor that many kids won't pick up on, but as an adult, you knew what he was referring to, the yellow snow.
Oh, snow! Yellow snow!
So yeah, Paul Reubens, rest in peace. Such a talent. Very young to be going. I believe he was 79 or in his 70s. I forget the age he is when he passed on. But yeah, sorely missed. Again, taken away. We say this a lot for a lot of people, but taken from us way too soon. Yeah, so there you go. Hey everyone, just a quick message here that this episode is brought to you by a new shop that I just launched. That's right, popculture.shop is a new merch shop where you can not only find Low-Key Geek and eventually MovieTime merchandise, but you will find merchandise dedicated to some of the biggest things in pop culture at the moment. Whether it's movies, TV, video games, memes, or anything of the like, you'll find some of the homages to some of the biggest things that are happening currently at the time. You also eventually will find some cool retro throwbacks in here and there. The shop just launched, so bear with me. I'm filling in the inventory, but you'll find new stuff dropping every week. But to help celebrate the launch of this brand new merch shop, I'm giving all of you, the listeners, subscribers here at the Low-Key Geek channel, a nice little discount to check it out. So if you use the code LOWKEYGEEK at checkout, you'll get yourself a nice little 15% discount. So definitely check it out. This is another great way to help support the channel and show your love and support for everything that we do here. But it's also a brand new venture of my own, you know, just going out into the retail market. So any support that you could throw our way would be greatly appreciated. So once again, that is Pop Couture, popculture.shop, popculture.shop, a shop for geeks who are chic.
For full audio episodes of the MovieTime podcast, make sure to follow and subscribe to the Low-Key Geek channel on your favorite podcast platform. New episodes are uploaded every week.